What if everything you were ever told about emotions was a carefully designed lie? Since childhood, they told you to be kind. They told you to be gentle. They told you to open your heart, to be vulnerable, to forgive, to show mercy. They told you that goodness, softness, and compassion would bring you happiness, respect, and love. But let me ask you this. Has it? Think carefully. Where has your kindness gotten you? How many times have you been betrayed by someone you trusted? How many times has your vulnerability been used against you? How many times have you swallowed your instincts, buried your anger, suppressed your strength, only to find yourself ignored, disrespected, or discarded? You see, the truth is far darker than the fairy tales you were raised on. The truth they don't want you to know is this: emotions are chains. They are leashes. They are the very tools used to control you. The people who told you to lead with your heart knew something they weren't admitting. They knew that a man ruled by his feelings is a man who can be manipulated, provoked, thrown off balance. And history's most dangerous strategist Niccolo Machiavelli saw through the lie centuries ago. In his timeless book, The Prince, Machiavelli doesn't waste time telling you how to be good. He tells you how to win. He doesn't write about morality, he writes about survival. He doesn't care about virtue, he cares about control. And here's the first principle that will disturb you, but also set you free. He who seeks to be loved more than feared will come to ruin. Think about that. Most people still believe love is strength. They think being liked, adored, and accepted will protect them. But Machiavelli saw what most people ignore. Love is fragile. Love is conditional. Love depends on what you give others, and it vanishes the moment you stop giving. Fear, on the other hand, fear stays. Fear is not conditional. Fear does not need to be fed. Fear controls. You don't need to be loved. You need to be obeyed. That is the foundation of emotional control. That is where true power begins, not in how people feel about you, but in how they respond to you. And when people fear you, when they sense that you are untouchable, detached, unshakable, they obey, even against their own will. Now ask yourself, how many times have you lost power because of emotion? How many times have you hesitated out of guilt? How many times have you tolerated disrespect because you didn't want to overreact? How many times have you swallowed your instincts because you wanted to appear reasonable? Every one of those moments cost you something. They cost you respect. They cost you influence. They cost you power. Machiavelli wrote, "A man who wants to act virtuously in every way necessarily comes to grief among so many who are not virtuous." Translation: if you try to be good in a world that isn't, you will be crushed. This is not a fair world. This is a world of predators and prey. And if you want to stop being prey, if you want to become the one who dominates instead of being dominated, you must numb the heart. You must stop treating emotion like strength and start treating it like the weakness it really is. A prince, Machiavelli warns, must learn how not to be good. Not because cruelty should always be used, but because goodness is only useful when it serves your goals, not when it serves your guilt. That means your strategy must be cold, objective, calculated. You don't make decisions because you feel bad. You don't hold back because you feel sorry. You act when it serves your power, and you restrain yourself when it serves your power. That is the beginning of control. And here's why this is more than philosophy. When you allow emotion to rule you, you react, you lash out, you hesitate, you second-guess yourself. And the moment you react, you are no longer in control. Someone else is. But when you strip away emotion, you become the one pulling the strings. You become untouchable. You become the one observing, calculating, deciding. Everyone else is busy fighting with their feelings. Love, anger, jealousy, guilt. But you are silent. You are still. You are cold. And that's why Machiavelli said, "It is much safer to be feared than loved, if one must choose." Because love is based on what you provide. Fear is based on what you could take away. People love you when it's convenient. They fear you even when they hate you. Fear doesn't disappear when the conditions change. Fear doesn't demand constant maintenance. Fear remains. That's why Machiavelli's advice is brutally clear. Appear kind, appear generous, but never become these things. This is the art of emotional control. You become two people, the illusion and the operator. To the world, you are calm, collected, perhaps even kind. But beneath that surface, steel. Coldness, detachment, because everyone is watching you. Everyone is testing you. And the moment they see emotion, they see weakness. They see a crack in the armor. And that is how they get in. So you cut it out. You silence the guilt. You burn away the weakness before it destroys you. This is not about cruelty. It's about survival. It's about understanding that emotions are not your guide. They are the enemy of power. And this is why part 1 is the foundation of everything that comes next. Before you can control others, you must first kill the thing inside you that betrays you again and again. That thing is your feelings. This is the first transformation. Kill the feeling. From this moment on, you are no longer ruled by emotion. You use it as a mask. You wield it as a weapon. But you never, ever let it control you. Because once you stop feeling, you start controlling. And once you start controlling, the world becomes yours to command. In part 1, you learned the first transformation. Kill the feeling. Without emotional control, you are nothing but prey. Predictable, weak, and easy to manipulate. But killing the feeling is only the beginning. Because once you silence the heart, you must master the second step, becoming the mask. Now, listen carefully. Machiavelli understood something most people never grasp. Raw power is never enough. Control isn't just about what you hold. It's about what others see. You can be powerful. You can be ruthless. You can be utterly unshakable inside. But if the world perceives you as dangerous too soon, they will resist you. They will unite against you. They will see the sword in your hand, and they will prepare to fight you. That's why the true Machiavellian never shows his real face. He wears the mask. He wrote, "A prince must be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. The lion uses strength, the fox uses deception, and only the man who can wear both skins survives." Do you see the brilliance? Force without illusion makes you a tyrant. Illusion without force makes you a fraud. But the balance of both the mask and the blade makes you untouchable. So here is the law of the mask. You do not show emotion, you simulate it. You don't give kindness, you perform it. You don't act out of mercy. You display it only when it advances your strategy. Because Machiavelli saw the truth of human nature, the vulgar crowd is always taken by appearances, and the world is composed of the vulgar. Most people don't see reality. They see surfaces. They don't analyze, they assume. They don't question, they believe. And that is exactly what you exploit. So when they demand kindness, you appear kind. When they admire generosity, you appear generous. When they expect calm, you appear calm. And while they applaud your virtue, you are silently calculating your next move. This is the art of manipulation. Let the world see the surface it wants to see. Behind it, you remain cold, observing, untouchable. And here's the dangerous secret. The more you wear the mask, the more you become it. At first, You may feel you are acting, pretending, playing a role, but over time, the mask fuses with you. You forget where the mask ends and where you begin, and that is when your transformation is complete. You are no longer pretending, you are embodying. No tells, no slips, no hesitation, just absolute control. Think about what that means. It means that when people laugh with you, they are laughing at a mask. When they trust you, they are trusting a mask. When they think they know nothing. And you want it that way. Because the moment they see your real feelings, the illusion dies. The moment they sense hesitation, weakness, or doubt, they test you, they push, they exploit. And that's when you bleed. But the mask prevents that. The mask is protection. The mask is power. Machiavelli was blunt. It is not necessary for a prince to have all the good qualities, but it is very necessary to appear to have them. Fake morality is more effective than real morality. Why? Because real morality restricts you. Fake morality gives you cover. You appear noble, but you act in your own interest. You appear generous, but you protect your resources. You appear merciful, but only when it strengthens your hand. This is survival. This is sovereignty. Now, let's make this real. In your life, how many times have you been punished for honesty? How many times has showing your true self been used against you? How many times has telling the truth cost you respect, opportunity, or trust? The world rewards illusion, not truth. The world rewards masks, not vulnerability. That is why the Machiavellian thrives. While everyone else bleeds honesty, he smiles, nods, and hides the blade behind his back. Because the true art of domination is not in showing power, it's in hiding it. People resist what they fear openly, but they submit to what they trust. So you let them trust you. You let them believe in your false kindness. You let them relax. And then, when the moment is right, you strike. That is the fox. That is the mask. And here's where most people fail. They cannot bear to play a role. They want to be seen. They want to be understood. They want to be authentic. And in that desire, they expose themselves. They reveal their weakness. They show their true feelings. And the world exploits them. But you are not one of them anymore. You are no longer desperate to be understood. You no longer crave recognition. You no longer want to be seen. You want to be obeyed. And obedience requires illusion. This is why mastering the mask is more than strategy, it's survival. It is the barrier between your power and your destruction. So here is your second transformation. Become the mask. Smile when necessary. Laugh on cue. Appear calm, generous, virtuous. Let the world see what it wants to see. But beneath it all, remain steel. Because everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. And what you really are must be untouchable. This is how rulers survive. This is how kings rise. This is how the Machiavellian thrives. Unseen, unreadable, unstoppable. And when you master this, you will realize something profound. You no longer need to show power because the mask itself becomes your weapon. Your silence becomes their fear. Your calmness becomes their confusion. Your illusion becomes their reality. And that is the ultimate trick. The mask does not just protect you. It commands. It seduces. It dominates. So ask yourself, are you still showing the world your real face? Or have you learned to wear the mask? Because until you do, you will always be vulnerable. But once you master the mask, you become untouchable. This is the second law of power. Master the illusion, control the perception, conceal the intent. And when the moment comes, strike. Power is not always about brute force. It is often about deception, subtlety, and concealment. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this better than anyone else. He knew that men are not governed by truth, but by appearances. And those who can master appearances can master the world. So ask yourself, how much of what you show to others is a mask? How much of your anger, your sadness, your excitement, do you let them see? If you are like most people, you reveal too much. Your face betrays your inner world. Your body language leaks your vulnerabilities. And the more people can read you, the more they can control you. Machiavelli warned, it is not necessary for a prince to have all the good qualities, but it is very necessary to appear to have them. Did you catch that? He says, appear, not to be, but to seem. You do not need to be merciful, loyal, or honest, but you must appear merciful, appear loyal, appear honest. This is the art of the mask. Think about it. People judge you by what they can see. And what they can see is not your true self, but the version of yourself you present. If you present control, they assume you are strong. If you present kindness, they assume you are generous. If you present silence, they assume you are wise. Appearances are everything. But here lies the deeper power. When you control appearances, you control perception. And when you control perception, you control reality. Take the battlefield of politics, business, or even relationships. The man who looks calm under pressure gains trust. The man who hides his fear seems brave. The man who shows patience seems powerful. And the man who conceals his true motives, he becomes untouchable, unpredictable, impossible to manipulate. Now, understand this emotional camouflage does not mean being fake in every moment. It means being strategic with what you reveal. If anger helps you intimidate, reveal it. If compassion helps you gain loyalty, reveal it. If silence makes others uneasy, reveal it. But never reveal everything. Never expose your full hand. Keep a part of yourself hidden. Always. Machiavelli's wisdom can be applied here with surgical precision. Do not seek to be loved or feared based on your true self. Seek to be loved or feared based on the mask you wear. Because love and fear are emotions in the minds of others, and emotions can be shaped by perception. And let me tell you something most people will never realize. The mask you wear is not deception. It is survival. It is strategy. It is the only way to remain unshakable in a world that feeds on weakness. So practice this every day. Next time someone insults you, do not reveal your anger. Next time you feel anxious, do not reveal your fear. Next time you feel desperate, do not reveal your need. Instead, reveal calmness, reveal control, reveal dominance. Because when you master the mask, you become untouchable. You confuse your enemies, you unsettle your rivals, and you inspire those who follow you. And slowly they stop responding to your emotions and start responding to your power. The greatest leaders, the most dangerous men, the most magnetic personalities, they all mastered this art. They knew when to smile, when to frown, when to speak, and when to remain silent. Every gesture was calculated. Every emotion was chosen. Nothing was accidental. And here is the paradox: when you wear the mask long enough, the mask becomes you. At first, you pretend to be calm. Then you learn to remain calm. At first, you pretend to be fearless. Then you discover courage within. At first, you pretend to be powerful. Then you realize you have become powerful. This is the Machiavellian path. Not to let emotion enslave you, but to enslave emotion. Not to be controlled by feelings, but to use feelings as tools. And not to expose your soul to the world, but to reveal only what serves your rise. So the question for you is this: what mask will you wear? What image will you project? And how long before the mask becomes reality? Because remember this: Machiavelli was right. Power does not belong to the honest. It belongs to those who know how to appear honest. Power does not belong to the merciful. It belongs to those who know how to appear merciful. Power does not belong to the strong. It belongs to those who appear unshakable. The mask is not a weakness. It is your weapon. And in a world where everyone is watching, the mask you wear determines the throne you sit upon. Think about this for a moment. How many times in your life have you made a decision that you knew was the wrong one, but you made it anyway because of how you felt in the moment? Maybe you trusted someone you shouldn't have. Maybe you forgave someone who betrayed you. Maybe you held onto a relationship long after it was dead. Why? Because you let emotion override logic. Machiavelli would say that is weakness. And weakness invites destruction. To truly feel nothing and control everything, you must learn to elevate cold-blooded logic above everything else. Emotion clouds judgment. Fear paralyzes. Love blinds. Anger burns. But logic sees clearly. Logic calculates outcomes. Logic doesn't care about your feelings or anyone else's feelings. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to act with calculation than to be carried away by impulse." He knew that those who operate with logic dominate those who operate with emotion. Because emotions make you predictable, logic makes you untouchable. Think of history's most feared leaders. Julius Caesar was not guided by his emotions, he was guided by calculation. Every alliance, every betrayal, every battle he fought was chosen not because of how he felt, but because of what it would achieve. That's why his enemies never saw him coming until it was too late. Now, let's bring this to you. Ask yourself, where in your life do emotions still control you? Is it your relationships? Do you get jealous, needy, or desperate when someone pulls away from you? That is emotion enslaving you. Is it your work? Do you let fear of failure stop you from taking bold steps? That is emotion enslaving you. Or is it your daily interactions? Do you get angry when someone disrespects you? That is emotion enslaving you. The Machiavellian path is simple: become untouchable. And the way to become untouchable is to replace emotion with logic. When someone insults you, don't react. Instead, calculate. What do I gain by responding? If the answer is nothing, stay silent. That silence will terrify them more than any insult ever could. When someone betrays you, don't break down. Instead, calculate. What is the best way to use this betrayal to my advantage? Can I turn their treachery into leverage? That's how you win. When opportunity appears, don't hesitate out of fear. Instead, calculate. What are the risks? What are the rewards? And how can I maximize my chances? That is how you advance. The world respects results, not feelings. If you can master cold-blooded logic, you will rise above the chaos of emotional people. You will no longer be manipulated, no longer be thrown off balance, no longer be weak. But here's the secret. Logic doesn't mean you destroy your emotions. It means you rule over them. Like a king rules over subjects. Emotions will always exist, but they must bow before reason. When you feel anger rising, let logic sit on the throne and decide how to use that anger. When you feel fear, let logic determine if it's real danger or just imagination. When you feel love, let logic decide if it's true connection or just attachment. This is what Machiavelli meant when he said, men should be either treated generously or destroyed. He wasn't talking about cruelty for cruelty's sake. He was talking about the logic of power. If you want to dominate the game of life, you cannot afford to sit in the middle, half emotional, half logical. You must choose. Either give fully or cut completely. Either commit or walk away. Either act or do nothing. But don't get caught in hesitation. Logic is decisive. Emotion is hesitant. And remember this: the crowd, the masses, the majority of people you meet are ruled by emotions. That's why they are weak. That's why they can be manipulated. That's why they are predictable. But if you rise above them, if you learn to operate purely from calculation, you will instantly stand apart. You will become a rare figure, a person who cannot be swayed, cannot be fooled, cannot be broken. People may call you cold. They may call you heartless. They may even fear you. But let me ask you, which is better, to be feared for your strength or pitied for your weakness? Machiavelli gives you the answer. Fear is power. Pity is death. So when life presses you, when the storm hits, when betrayal comes, when love tempts you, when anger burns inside you, pause, take a breath, step outside your emotion, and ask, what is the most logical move I can make right now? That is how you transform chaos into control. Because at the end of the day, logic always wins. Emotions are temporary. Logic is eternal. And those who master it control everything. Imagine this. Two men are faced with the same challenge. One reacts with rage, driven by a bruised ego. The other remains calm, studies the field, and acts only when the odds are fully in his favor. Who do you think will win? Machiavelli already gave us the answer. Power always bends to the one who calculates, not the one who reacts. This is where most people fail. They confuse passion for strength. They believe that anger fuels victory, that excitement drives success, that emotion somehow makes them unstoppable. But history tells us the opposite. Emotion blinds. Emotion makes you reckless. Emotion exposes your weakness to those who know how to exploit it. The true master is the one who can strip himself of these illusions and look at the world like a chessboard. Machiavelli teaches us that life is war. Not the war of swords and shields, but the war of influence, perception, and control. Every conversation, every relationship, every decision, it's a battle of who controls the frame, and only those who calculate coldly can truly dominate. Now, let's take this further. Strategy isn't just about planning, it's about timing. Machiavelli often emphasized that fortune is like a river, wild, dangerous, and unpredictable. If you rush into it unprepared, you drown. But if you anticipate its movements, build dams, and channel it, you harness its power. In other words, the emotionless strategist doesn't just think ahead. He shapes the environment so that luck itself bends in his favor. Let's bring this down to your life. Imagine you're negotiating for a business deal or even setting boundaries in a relationship. The emotional person gets triggered by a word, a tone, a delay, and makes rash decisions. The calculated person, on the other hand, listens, observes, and waits. He doesn't rush to fill silence. He doesn't show his desperation. He makes the other side reveal their hand first. And when the perfect moment arrives, he strikes with precision. That is cold power. Machiavelli believed rulers should appear virtuous, but act according to necessity. This doesn't mean lying recklessly or becoming a fraud. It means you use perception as a weapon and truth as a tool when it benefits you. Strategy is not about being morally perfect. It's about survival and dominance. And survival doesn't reward the emotional. It rewards the calculating. Think about the predators in the wild. The lion doesn't chase every gazelle in sight. It waits, it studies, it chooses the weak, the isolated, the careless. That is strategy. That is why the lion is feared. Not because it roars the loudest, but because when it moves, it never misses. You must become the lion in your own life. And here's the cold reality Machiavelli forces us to confront. Most people will not like this truth. They will call you cold, ruthless, manipulative. But remember, these are the same people who lose battles every day because they can't control themselves. They live at the mercy of their emotions, of other people's opinions, of circumstances beyond their control. The Machiavellian individual rises above this. He doesn't chase approval. He doesn't seek validation. He builds his empire quietly, strategically, piece by piece. So, how do you practice cold calculation? First, observe more than you speak. Knowledge is ammunition. Second, never reveal your full intentions. Mystery keeps people unbalanced. Third, delay gratification. Impulse is the enemy of power. Patience is its ally. Fourth, think in consequences, not emotions. Every choice should be weighed like a scale. What does this move gain me? What does it risk? Only then decide. Cold calculation turns you into a force that others can't predict, can't manipulate, can't control. And when they finally realize how far ahead you are, it's already too late for them. Machiavelli's lesson is simple but brutal. The one who thinks coldly controls the one who burns hot. That is why kings outlast rebels. That is why leaders outmaneuver the masses. And that is why you, if you master this, will rise above the chaos of ordinary life. If you've come this far, it means you've walked through the shadows with me. You've explored silence, emotional detachment, manipulation, and the raw pursuit of power. But now comes the final step. The transformation of everything you've learned into a way of being. This is where Machiavelli's lessons stop being ideas and start becoming your nature. This is where you rise above the ordinary and step into the realm of the untouchable. Think about the people around you. Most live their lives chasing validation, chasing money without discipline, chasing affection without self-respect. They are pulled like puppets by invisible strings. Strings made of fear, love, ego, jealousy, and hope. And yet, Machiavelli teaches us that the one who cuts his own strings controls the strings of others. To become untouchable, you must stop being a player who reacts to the game and instead become the architect of the game itself. Rule 1. Always appear, never reveal. Machiavelli said it best. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few know what you are. The untouchable man is a mask, a carefully curated image. He knows that power is not about showing everything you think, but about revealing only what others need to see. If they underestimate you, perfect. If they overestimate you, even better. The mask protects you, confuses them, and keeps you untouchable. But here's the secret behind the mask. You must remain grounded, calm, and indifferent. Do not let success inflate your ego, and do not let failure weaken your will. Both praise and insult are illusions designed to manipulate you. If you are immune to both, you have reached a rare level of strength. Rule 2. Become comfortable with being feared. Most people want to be liked, to be accepted, to be loved. But Machiavelli strips away the illusion. It is far safer to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Why? Because love is fragile. Love can turn into hate, envy, or betrayal. But fear creates distance. Fear keeps people cautious, careful, calculating in your presence. And no, this does not mean cruelty without reason. It means you must never hesitate to enforce consequences. If you are too merciful, people will exploit you. If you are too forgiving, people will test you again. But if you demonstrate once that disrespect has a cost, people will never forget it. Fear must be strategic, not reckless. Cold, not emotional. That is how kings rule, and how leaders keep their thrones. Rule 3. Outlast everyone. Time is one of the greatest weapons. Most people act impulsively. They want immediate results, immediate revenge, immediate validation. But the Machiavellian mindset is patient. You do not move because you are pressured to move. You move because the moment has ripened into perfection. In The Prince, Machiavelli emphasized fortuna, fortune, chance, luck. He admitted that half of life is out of our control, but the other half, that belongs to us. And those who wait, those who prepare, those who build silently in the shadows, they are the ones who seize opportunity when fortune finally opens the door. So ask yourself, are you rushing into battles that don't matter? Or are you preparing to win the wars that shape destiny? The untouchable man plays the long game. He is willing to wait years for the perfect strike. And when he strikes, it is decisive, unchallenged. Final. Rule 4. Remove attachments. Do not misunderstand this. You can have friends, allies, lovers, but you must not be enslaved by them. Attachment makes you predictable. It makes you weak. Machiavelli warns rulers never to rely entirely on anyone else for their survival. The same applies to you. Do not make your happiness dependent on another person. The moment someone controls your emotions, they control you. And if you are to become untouchable, no one, absolutely no one, should hold that kind of power over your mind. Detach not because you don't care, but because you value your sovereignty. You can love, but never at the cost of yourself. You can give, but never at the cost of your throne. Rule 5. Legacy over comfort. The untouchable man does not live for comfort, but for impact. Machiavelli himself lived a turbulent life, imprisoned, exiled, and humiliated. But centuries later, his name is remembered as synonymous with cunning and power. His comfort perished, but his legacy is eternal. And so you must ask yourself, do you want to be liked for a moment or respected for a lifetime? Comfort dies with you. Legacy outlives you. The choice is yours, and every decision you make is either building your monument or burying it. Now we come to the end of this journey. You wanted to learn how to feel nothing, how to control everything. You wanted to walk the path of Machiavelli. And here it is. Silence over chatter, logic over emotion, fear over love, patience over impulse, legacy over comfort. If you live by these principles, you will no longer be at the mercy of the world. You will no longer be just another man begging for validation. Instead, you will be the storm others must prepare for. You will be the architect, the manipulator, the one who shapes outcomes while others drown in their feelings. Machiavelli did not write for the weak. He wrote for rulers, for leaders, for men who would shape history. So ask yourself now, are you ready to stop living as a pawn and become the prince of your own destiny? Remember this: to feel nothing is to free yourself. To control everything is to master yourself. And that, above all, is the true Machiavellian power.